Hello there, my name is Pavlo Shtelma, and now we will dive in the top news of recent days. Already 2 Ukrainians died, not in the war, but in queue on the Polish-Ukrainian border. The protest of Polish carriers has already caused losses of more than 400 million euros, according to the Federation of Employers of Ukraine. Since November 6, the action of Polish carriers to block the movement of freight transport at 3 checkpoints on the Ukrainian-Polish border has been ongoing. Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale aggression, Poland has become the largest transit hub for Ukraine, on which the stability of our state in confrontation with the enemy depends. Ukrainian drivers suffer in huge queues of trucks at the border without proper living conditions and medical care at sub-zero temperatures. The behavior of the Polish carriers is irresponsible, at least, irrational and illegal. They rejected the joint proposals of the European Commission, Ukraine and Polish government and refused to end the strike. Their main demand is to return to the permit system for our country.
Carriers from all EU countries have the right to transport to Ukraine without any permits or licenses. At the same time, carriers from the EU do not risk carrying out transportation to Ukraine in view of the extremely dangerous situation in the country due to military actions. From the statement of Federation of Employers of Ukraine on Facebook.
In the meantime, the European Commission may initiate criminal proceedings against Poland if the authorities do not resolve the issue of carriers blocking checkpoints on the border with Ukraine. The Ministry of Development of Communities, Territories and Infrastructure of Ukraine initiated the creation of an EU monitoring group on the border with Poland. And the most interesting thing, the Guildhall News agency established the Polish carriers who have been blocking a number of checkpoints on the border, demanding fair competition, have been in contact with individuals with ties to Russia. Russian meddling has also been established in probing similar developments in Slovakia. The official organizer of the protest on the border between Poland and Ukraine is Rafał Mekler, a Polish national who owns a Rafał Mekler transport freight carrier business. Mekler is also a member of the pro-Russian party Confederation of Freedom and Independence, which has close ties with Russia. In particular, party leader Janusz Korwin-Mikke earlier made calls for recognition of the Crimea occupation by Russia and even visited the illegally annexed peninsula in 2015, where he met with the head of the Russian occupation administration of Crimea, Sergei Aksyonov. The current protest stunt on the Polish-Ukrainian border is not the first episode where Polish carriers are engaged in campaigns that bear certain signs of Russia's active measures or interference. Since the outset of Russia's invasion on Ukraine, Rafał Mekler Transport and a number of other Polish companies have been involved in the ongoing protests, demanding that the EU's Russia sanctions be lifted. I will remind you that there was also a protest in Slovakia, but according to the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine, the work of border cross points on the border with Slovakia is currently unblocked. As of this morning, 400 trucks were expected to pass in the direction of Ukraine. On November 23rd, far-right Eurosceptic Freedom Party won the premature parliamentary elections in the Netherlands. Since the day of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Netherlands has been our reliable partner and one of the leaders of the F-16 aviation coalition and the main suppliers of weapons. Perhaps it was the reason that one of the main countries against which the hybrid war was waged was the Netherlands. Because who but the Netherlands know all the treachery and deceitfulness of the Kremlin? For years, Moscow tried to interfere with the investigation into the downing of MH17 plane. However, the truth was revealed. The downing of the Malaysian Airlines passenger liner is a consequence of the Russian hybrid war unleashed against Ukraine back in 2014. As a result of a thorough, several-year investigation, it was possible to clearly establish the main performance and murder weapon. It was the Russian Buk air defense system. Throughout the investigation, Russia purposefully produced fakes at the highest state level to divert suspicions from itself and shift the blame to Ukraine. Lies are a characteristic feature of the Russism accompanying all their crimes. The Boeing 777 crash is just one of a huge number of Russian crimes committed in Ukraine. And now the PVV leader, Geert Wilders, calls for an end to the military aid to Ukraine, and also does not support Ukraine's accession to the EU and NATO. The process of transfer of power in the Netherlands will last several months until the newly formed government is established. Until then, we can only count on the support of the Ukraine-friendly government of Mark Rutte.
In the Netherlands, there is broad support for our help to Ukraine. I hope and expect this will not change in the new parliament. But the PVV is now the largest party and they have never been enthusiastic about support to Ukraine. They have even been pro-Russia at times, so that has me worried. Kajsa Lundgren, Minister of Defense of the Netherlands.
The current budget of the Netherlands for the next year has already allocated 2 billion euros for military aid to Ukraine. An electoral advantage does not mean that the PVV will form a new government of like-minded people. A number of parties that entered the parliament have already announced that they will not enter into a coalition with the PVV. Even the PVV forms a coalition, it will have to take into account the position of other political forces in the parliament. Ukraine commemorates the Holodomor Victims Memorial Day. The Holodomor of 1932-1933 is a famine in Ukraine artificially organized by the Stalinist regime, which is a crime of genocide against the Ukrainian people. Russia's modern crimes against Ukrainians became an impetus for the world's rethinking of the Holodomor phenomena. During 2022-2023, 17 states, as well as the European Parliament, the PACE, condemned and recognized the Holodomor as a genocide of the Ukrainian people, adopted a decision to honor the memory of its victims. Even today, Russia tries to use hunger as a weapon, looting and destroying Ukrainian crops, blocking Ukraine's grain exports, on which the food security of tens of millions of people in the world depends. The US ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, directly compared Putin to Stalin, who organized the Holodomor in 1932-1933.
This month is the 19th anniversary of the Holodomor, which means death from hunger. The Holodomor was a warning of what could happen if brutality and tyranny were not curbed. But Putin didn't mind. He was rather inspired. Like Stalin, Putin uses food as a weapon of war. Like Stalin, Putin caused hunger and death in Ukraine. Linda Thomas-Greenfield, US Ambassador to the United Nations.
Russian propaganda cynically speculates on Ukrainians' memory of the Holodomor. They called it just hunger, but the point is that all the hunger was mostly on Ukrainian territory. The international legal company Global Rights Compliance is collecting evidence for the International Criminal Court about Russia's attempts to create a famine in the 21st century. And Ukraine continues to responsibly take care of the food security of the world. Provisions of food are included in the peace formula of the President of Ukraine. On November 25, the second International Summit on Food Security Grain from Ukraine will be held in Kyiv. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching and stay updated. Subscribe to our UATV English YouTube channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support really matters. Goodbye.